What should I be?
Anything. Ooh.
Anything I want.
Anything you want to be.
Oh, microphone. That's unfortunate. 4 p.m. All right. That's good. 4 p.m.'s not. You got time.
You got lots of time.
You still get to have dinner.
Hey, Melody. Hey, Nikki. You guys waiting for anything much before starting? Not really. We're just, it's a cheap and shameless way for me to force people to listen to my music for a bit while I gather up the courage to start talking.
Joshua Beach.
Yeah. You would have seen that name lots of times.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Carlos. I've seen that name also. Oh, good morning, Kieran. Just after getting into bed.
Let us know if we're too loud or whatever.
Or if you want Shaun to change his outfit.
Yeah. I'm underdressed.
He's in his pajamas.
I'm underdressed.
He hasn't showered.
But I didn't sleep in these pajamas. I woke up and then I put these on.
Yeah, what did your awesome wife let you do this morning?
You let me sleep in this morning because I gave myself an ice cream hangover.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did all the school stuff by myself. I did it well, considering.
I think I'm done.
Yeah. You're done with ice cream?
I think I'm done.
You have to stop.
I think I'm done with it's time to go back on the reservation.
I was going to say that to you this
morning. Routine. Well, yeah.
We said that like a week ago.
Yeah. Oh, I got a card this morning and it said it really is time to let the old ways die.
Just let it go.
Guess it's time to let the old ways die.
What's that from?
That's from Star is Born.
Oh.
Yeah. Guess it's time to let the old ways die.
Oh, yeah, because he's got to stop that, but he didn't stop that.
Yeah.
Curious, we have 18-hour, 30-minute time difference.
Alicia Joan Frick.
Yes. Should be
Hi.
super pregs by now.
Super pregs.
Paulette, been watching you with Nikki. Oh, hello, Paulette.
G'day.
She's with Nikki.
Right on.
Right on.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. So we off to a late start. I didn't make breakfast for anyone this morning.
I'm so hungry.
I cook breakfast every morning, and I didn't do it this morning because you allowed me a sleep in.
Which threw everything out of whack. And then my phone died, so I didn't get out of bed till 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was pretty busy charging Tosh's phone, even though he has his own charger.
He does, but he likes to use yours.
I bet he took mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I decided the first proper conversation I had this morning, apart from with you.
We didn't even have one till like way later.
We hadn't really logged on to each other yet.
No.
Maybe not really till just now.
No, probably not. I don't think we've had a proper conversation.
We haven't had a proper conversation. So my first proper conversation was with the lady on the run.
Was it Brian?
No, it was he used to live in Abu Dhabi. He's from Pakistan. I can't remember his name though, but he was there. He made the coffee.
Oh, he's the one who had to let you down.
He had to let me down. How did he let me down? No,
I'm giving you soy
milk. Yeah, I'm gonna get some estrogen happening.
You need some boobies anyway.
I need boobies.
Everybody likes boobies.
Everybody likes a bosom for a pillow.
That's right.
Yep.
And then on the way back from getting coffee, Shaun alerted me to a interesting.
That's how I got to this, because the first conversation I had was with the lady who was at there's a little bit where you wait and they have newspaper there, and it's also the bit where you can like fill out your lotto tickets and your Keno tickets. Keno. And remember that ad?
I don't know what Keno really does. I don't know how it works.
Keno is like an instant lottery, and there's like a screen, and it's usually in a news agency or a service station, and they have them in the TAB and stuff, and you grab a little card.
Yeah, I know the cards and stuff.
You pay like, I don't know, maybe it's like $10 or $5 or something, and then the screen pops up, and then I think there might be like 100 squares, and you have to have 10 of the squares that get done or whatever.
Oh, that's like instant gratification, isn't it?
Yeah, and so you can win like 50 grand or something, $5 grand, $100. Like, it's not like huge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there was those there as well. And I thought she was filling those out, and I was sitting there and I was reading the newspaper, and I went, screw it. All right, I haven't spoken to anybody today. I'm going to talk to you. You're going to be the first person that I speak to today. And I was like, do you ever win? And she was like, oh, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what, like much? And she's like, oh, you know, like $20 here and there. And then I was like, okay.
I wonder how
And
much
then
she puts on it.
well, and then or how often she buys them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, do you get excited when you win $20? And she's like, not really, because I want the big one. And then I remembered, I was like, oh, you know what? A friend of mine, or not a friend of mine, someone I went to school with.
You wish he was your friend.
He doesn't even know. He probably wouldn't even remember,
Yeah,
remember me. You reckon he would?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's in your grade.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but a lot of people in my grade don't remember me when they look at me.
Yeah, but you look very
because I
different
don't
now.
look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shapeshifter, transformation. Anyway, he guy I went to school with who ended up getting he's like infamous in
He's the
South
first
Australia
ever
now.
South Australian bikie to be told he is not allowed to associate with a single bikie ever again, otherwise he goes back to jail.
Yeah, so he ended up in bikie
Made
gangs.
history.
Yep. And so then after he got out of jail, he's been like, so they talk about him in our local media a lot, because after he got out of jail and he's been like banned from, you know, interacting with anyone affiliated with biker gangs now.
That's right. There was a council stuff.
Yeah, because he's got this huge property.
Mm-hmm.
And all the locals are like, he's got illegal fencing. He didn't have council approval to put that fencing up, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a lovely looking place. It looks great.
It was just dirt there before.
It's very fancy. Yeah, it was just a paddock before. Anyway, it's this huge fortress. I think it's got like basketball court and stuff and whatever.
It looks like it's got 2 houses on it.
It looks like, look, if you went to jail and then you got banned from hanging out with bikers, it looks like exactly the kind of place you would want to be.
I would want to be in a little, I would.
Anyway, so
a little while ago, maybe a month or so.
So let's just say he got out of jail and he's been very financially successful and is doing very well for himself.
Well, we assume.
How much did he just win on the lotto?
2.2 million.
He just won $2.2 million on the lotto. And so now our state, good South Aussie, are outraged.
Yeah.
They're outraged
it's
again.
Gross. They're making a mockery of him. But, you know, like, but maybe he's changed his ways and he's seen the errors of his ways, and that's why he's allowed out of jail in the first place, I guess, maybe. And maybe he's, you know, his wife, she seems like a nice enough lady, and she bought him the present. And
well, the only complaints you ever hear anybody make about him is that his house is too big. He's living in a house that's too big, and it's not fair. I
did watch him rip someone out of a car when he was 17, 16, 15.
This is PJ, pre-jail. Winnie?
Oh, so you won't get that much boobies from soy, according to
you
Nikki.
won't? Oh, well, that's good. I don't want them. Winnie, come here.
Okay, when I have an minute. Oh, can you think about, you wouldn't know, like, I think about winning lots of money all the time. And I think it almost isn't worth it because it's almost not worth it, because you're like, well, if I had all that money, I've already spent it all in my head and it's just not the same, you know? And then you'd be like, well I don't know. It'd be a weird thing. Do you reckon?
I missed that.
Winning a great big bunch of money. I lost it.
Winning a great big bunch of money.
And
then you lost it.
Winning a great big bunch.
Where was the
lose
last place you remember seeing the big bunch of money?
So we have money that we're supposed that I'm waiting for from a compensation, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes, we're not going to be excited, right?
How come?
I'm not excited because it's spent already.
Yeah.
We've already allocated it to things that we need it to go to. And you know, it's like when you get paid, but it's not really getting paid because it's just going straight to bills. So it's like never being paid in the first place.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's already allocated.
And it's just like, same thing would happen if you won like 2.2 million. By the time you bought the houses, by the time you bought the new car, by the time you gave some to your family, by the time you did this, you'd be like, oh, fuck, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But it was worthwhile.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's not going to fix everything.
Like a couple mil
in my head.
A couple of mil, and it isn't not. And I've never smelt anything close to $1 million.
Do you reckon you'd fill
in my
your house
life,
up with it?
Hey,
you take it out all at once and just roll around in it?
No, I think $1 million in cash would be underwhelming.
You reckon?
Maybe.
Like it wouldn't fill this room.
No.
How much of this room do you reckon $1 million would fill?
You'd probably feel
In $5 notes.
in $5 notes.
Does anyone know how much that is?
What's
how many
a million divided
$5?
by 5?
I don't know what that is.
$1 million divided by 5.
Hi, Lucy.
I'm not doing that.
Welcome. How are you going? How's work? Lucy owns a hemp store in Port Adelaide, if anyone's interested. Her webpage is, I'm pretty sure, I do know.
As you were saying that, I was like, there's a hemp store in Port Adelaide? I didn't know that.
You went there.
No, but
True
I
Hemp. True Hemp. Sorry, Lucy, I do know what it's called. True Hemp Culture. I always miss the culture part.
So 200,000 $5 notes. But a $5 note is this big. It's paper thin. Flat. You can stack them all up. It would like it'd feel like a big duffel bag.
My favorite part of watching the news report just before about him winning all that money was the news reporter was like, the family claim that they'll invest it in their children's future. Just because they can't trust him because he's an ex-bikie, so they're like, "Oh, he claims that he's going to do that." He
had a go at me. No, he didn't. No, he did. He didn't quite, but I could tell he was gonna.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. True hemp culture, eco. That's the one, Lucy.
Yeah. Chuck a link up.
Yep. Put a link up if you like.
Put a link in here.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
What scrolled off already though? Oh, hold on. Hang on, I'm going back.
Important news. Anyway.
Waiting for the video is done. Took over 6 hours. Did you sleep? Did you sleep? Melody. She finished the painting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing that later.
Yeah.
Feel free to share it with us.
Yeah, we were hanging out yesterday on Melody's
Twitch. Yeah, it was cool.
Twitch
I've never
stream.
seen Twitch before.
Well, you have. We watched a little bit of Lonely Girl. Not Lonely Girl.
Comic book
We
girl.
saw her last night.
Yeah.
Lonely Girl 15.
Do you guys remember her?
I do.
Maybe not.
Did you get into that?
No, I wasn't part of the internet world until 2009.
Right. I got into
when
that.
I started talking to you, that's when I got my first ever laptop. And I was 23.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Like we had computers and stuff, but I wasn't really, Oh, thank you. Hang on. 200,000 bills stacked on top of each other would be 71.6 feet or 21.8 meters tall. What about cubes, Joshua?
Right, do
I want cubes.
in one continuous
one.
Jenga.
Like a Jenga. But I'm gonna pay $5 note Jenga.
You'd have to get it like vacuum sealed.
Lonely Girl 15. Carlos knows who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Throw it back.
Yeah. Yeah. I got into that after everybody already knew that it wasn't real. But I kept watching it anyway.
But you knew?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I kept watching it anyway.
Interesting?
It was interesting. It was see, I always really liked when I remember like way back in the day before YouTube and stuff like that, when I was 15 and all the websites were like flash animation websites, and so there'd be cartoons. It was like stickdeath.com. Those were hilarious, horrible, like horrific and so immature, but so funny for a 15-year-old. Stick Death, there was litfinger.com. There was the one like the blended frog, the frog in the blender stuff.
Yeah.
Newgrounds. So when Newgrounds was like a big deal, there's like Newgrounds, and there was these other places you could just go to websites and they would just like collect like like libraries of funny flash animations and stuff like that. So like way back then, once that started happening and people started getting into that, Stan Lee had a website for a little while, and it was like internet flash cartoons on original Stan Lee characters and stuff like that. So I would always get heaps into like whatever new thing they were trying to do on the internet, trying to turn the internet into like some sort of video style entertainment. And so when I came across Lonely Girl, that was when I first started getting into YouTube. And I just thought it was so cool that they were doing that. Yeah.
I guess that
and so did a lot of other people.
It's a really different way of acting, I guess, in a way. It's like acting without an agent. It's acting without a movie. It's acting on a live platform, I guess.
Well, how much has it been done since then? Like Lonely Girl made it, like, I don't know if you, how long before things like Cloverfield and stuff like that was Lonely Girl happening? You know, it was a
What do
drama.
you mean Cloverfield?
You know, the movie Cloverfield, like found footage, Chronicle and Cloverfield, and like, you know, like it's all found footage. It's like Blair Witch. Okay, so Blair Witch. So there was Blair Witch, and then I guess Lonely Girl was the adaptation of that idea onto the internet, into a public way. So Blair Witch were like, this is all real. This is a found thing.
Yeah.
And then Lonely Girl was like, this is all real. You're talking, like, in the comments, you're talking to this person, and this is a real person.
Weird.
Because she was like an unknown actress at the
That's
time.
clever. I wonder whose idea that was.
Can't remember. Did she end up on Felicity or something like that at some point? She got like a small role on something.
Do you want to know where I spent a lot of my time on the internet when I was about 15? Either ICQ. Uh-oh. That's the one. Yeah. Got so excited when that noise went off. Usually it was just creepy men.
Yes.
Yeah. Asking my age and my sex and my thing and, like, you know, what sort of size boobs I had.
My friend's dad was one of the creepy men once. Yeah. Because I'd always try and come up with, like, really, like, because you didn't have, like, avatars or display pictures and stuff like that. Like, the bandwidth, we were on dial-up internet back then, so you know, internet hadn't gotten quite beyond the GeoCities GIF websites just yet.
Don't know what that is.
You never made a GeoCities website? Did you ever make a website when you were young? No.
I don't think so.
GeoCities was a thing Yahoo had for a bit, and it was like the first, it was free, and it was the first, or not, maybe not the first, but it was like the biggest like free website designer thingy that you could use to, and like anyone could have a website. GeoCities. Yeah, I had a couple of GeoCities websites. My friends would have GeoCities websites, but they'd always be like girls in bikinis and stuff.
Okay, so just a hosting site.
Yeah.
Good.
But people would just like make these websites just like packed full of, at the moment they're
kind of like a MySpace page.
No. It's just like just full of little GIFs, like, you know, like little Sailor Moon GIFs and things like that. And, you know, like the fire, like looping fire and little sparkles.
Well, I just spend all my time on like Dolly.
With Dolly.
On Dolly. Dolly.com.
Yeah. Dolly Doctor.
Learned so much there. Because I couldn't afford the magazines, but we had the internet at home, and so I would just sit on there instead. Dolly Doctor. But you know, it was limited content. Dolly Doctor. To buy the magazines.
That was was it always a sealed section? You had to...
Yeah. It was really interesting.
Girls would love that.
Yeah, but some of them, like,
I used to like them too.
Some of the questions,
my girlfriends used to read them. I used to love reading them.
Some of the questions I was like, this has got to be made up. It's got to be. Some of the strange things that girls wrote in. I'm all for individuality and stuff, but Barbies don't go there.
Barbie. Oh.
Yeah, some of the stuff they wrote in.
All right.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Cough that way.
Sorry, guys. Was it at least a cute cough?
No, it wasn't.
Sorry about that. What I'm doing here right now, this podcast right now, is me procrastinating.
Oh. From doing what?
From doing all the admin-y stuff I'm supposed to be doing today. I'm supposed to look for textbooks and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. But there's a book co-op.
What's that?
It's like a cheap bookshop, I think, where everyone brings their old books.
And they're already got all the bits highlighted and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? Or is that bad? What if you get some idiot's book and they've highlighted all the bits and you're constantly drawn to bits that just are irrelevant?
Because that's my favorite color.
What color would that be? Fluoro yellow.
It's the worst.
I see you in that all the time.
I just don't like fluoro yellow, even to the point where
BMO farted.
That was not BMO, was it?
No, it was.
No.
Yeah.
It's not right. Yeah. Fluoro yellow is my least favorite color. Fluoro colors are my least favorite colors. I wish there was like more pastel highlighters. You guys have them? Anyway, let me check these comments while Shaun's out. GeoCities website was a James Bond fan page. Bunch of pictures of movie posters and synopsis. Wow. Can you access GeoCities still? You wouldn't be able to access it still, would you?
I wouldn't even know where to find it.
It is okay to link the Instagram picture in the chat. Yes, go right ahead, Melody. That is fine.
So
the
many.
best color is periwinkle. Now I'm going to have to Google that.
It still smells like a fart. That's horrible.
Color periwinkle. I feel like this is a made up color. Periwinkle. That is a nice color. There's a lot of variations. It's like different kinds of blues.
Periwinkle's the name of a legitimate color?
Yeah, it is. Periwinkle is the color of the blue and violet family. Its name is derived from the lesser periwinkle or myrtle herb, which bears flowers of the same color. The color periwinkle is also called lavender blue. Lavender's purple.
Oh. Why don't we just use lavender?
Periwinkle's a heaps cool name. I love the name periwinkle. I love the periwinkle. How funny. You taught me something today. I'm going to use that word so much more. What color?
Periwinkle.
I'll have periwinkle, please.
I can smell periwinkle in the air.
What would periwinkle smell like if it wasn't lavender?
Oh. Periwinkle. Some sort of it'd smell like a silver aged editor-in-chief's urine.
I don't think that's it at all.
I can see it. Perry white.
No.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the cute little?
It's Perry. Perry is the smell of Perry taking a winkle. Oh, that's cute.
That is cute.
That is cute.
And it does look just like anxiety.
Yeah.
On that little hill.
Yeah.
That's what I liked the most. I was like, that is what it feels like.
Anxiety Island.
It's going to drip on you. It's going to like girdle up in you. It's going to biggle in your pores. That's what water does, like anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, we have more lyric videos coming. You guys are making some more lyric videos. Melody's doing some more lyric videos. Checking out her art yesterday. Going to maybe do some, well, definitely going to do some collaboration there.
Yes.
Might have already seen a couple of pieces that I'm like, I'd like to use that
some
one.
Really great ones.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sticking with that theme.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much got the vibe. So we're gonna need to get some soundproofing at some point.
Oh, because you can hear everything.
Yeah, you can hear all the cars and the trucks. And if people are listening to this in their car, they're going to be like, where the fuck did the truck come from? A truck just drove through the car.
It's magic.
And God forbid they be next to a truck. That would freak me out. Like, do you remember, the song Break Even by The Script?
No, you're going to have to sing it for me.
What is it? I'm falling to pieces. I sing it. It's one of the songs that I do at cover gigs. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Still alive, but I'm barely breathing. Pray to a God that I don't believe. Okay.
You don't do it with the band, though.
No, we don't. In the background of that song is a siren.
Oh, never noticed.
And I was pretty young. I was in my early 20s when that song came out. Before I met you, must have been driving somewhere, and I was baked.
Oh, naughty!
I was driving my blue van, baked, cranking that song, and then freaking out because I'm like, oh shit!
The siren
in the background there. I was talking to this guy called Aziz. He was a GM dealer in Oman.
GM dealer?
General Motors.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like GMC or whatever. And he used to take the band out at the end of the night. Every night he'd take the band to he'd have some restaurant somewhere and we'd eat shawarma and stuff and whatever.
What's shawarma?
Shawarma is kind of like a kebab, but they're like small. They're like thin. And sometimes they chop them up into like sections.
Food.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I used to just get falafel shawarmas all the time.
I don't really like falafels. They had a weird texture. Anyway,
I've never had a falafel in Australia that tastes right.
They're all dry.
Yeah, they're not like that over there. They're kind of like meatballs. They're more like a meatball type thing over there. Yeah. Anyway, he used to take us out there, and when he was young, he studied in the US. So heaps of Omanis and heaps of Emiratis and stuff. They usually end up studying abroad at some point, and then they come back. And they get they have a good system over there. They get a lot of support from their country to go and get educated and then come back and then bring, like, you know, the education and the ideas and whatever back with them, and then, you know, put it back into their society and stuff. He was studying, and he was talking about how the first time he tried, I tried the marijuana, and he was listening to Pink Floyd, and there was that's
so great that he was listening to
the
Pink
song
Floyd.
that has the chopper sound, the helicopter, and he's like sinking into the back of his seat in his friend's Mustang or something, because he thinks there's a helicopter coming down over the top of them, and he's been busted for smoking weed, and he's going to get kicked out of school and sent home.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure on those little fellas. Just let them have their ganja.
Poor little dude.
What are we discussing?
We are discussing. Well, I don't remember how we got onto that, but you were talking about procrastination.
7 years. That's weird, isn't it? Doesn't seem that long ago.
That is a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
Yeah. So yeah, you're procrastinating.
I'm procrastinating. I've got ShaunMeetWorld stuff to do.
What's on your ShaunMeetWorld agenda?
I don't know. What have you added to it? And I need to look at your website.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know what it looks like.
It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My website effort so far has been somebody wanted to see some video. I had a client asking about a wedding gig.
I can just embed all of your stuff right on in there.
And so I quickly just threw a couple of things up, and it's like, here's a page with some videos on it. They're like, what sort of stuff do you do? This. Here you go.
Where is your website?
ShaunMeetWorld.com.
ShaunMeetWorld.com.
Yeah.
All right. There is flies banging on me, and it's getting me upset.
I can hear them. I can hear them in my ears.
ShaunMeet. And what is... Okay, never mind. Let me just have a look, see. So yeah, I've got some of your stuff to do. If your son went to school with matching socks. He didn't. He wore the exact same socks he wore yesterday, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I made note.
Did he wear them in the shower?
Would seem that way. Oh, yeah. Your website's a bit boring, isn't it?
It's just, well, it's literally just a page with 2 videos on it, so I could show clients that I'm not terrible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try harder next time.
Little bit. Well, this was back when I was like, this is all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. I'm not doing this. I'm not a musician.
I can embed every single live video to the website.
You can. They can be up live at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary, but that's an after effect that I can get sorted. So I've got that. Then I have to go onto the website, and I have to do a consent matters quiz online, and then I have to do some other quizzes online for the uni, and then I have to look for my textbooks, and then I have to figure out where to buy a lab coat and try and figure out where to find certain rooms and stuff.
Yeah. How do you think, what are you going to learn about consent? That it matters?
I don't know.
Do you think it doesn't matter?
No, it
Is that why
matters.
You have to do it?
I don't know. I just find it. I understand, but I'm pretty sure most people who commit crimes like that know that consent isn't they consent to these things. Otherwise, why would they hide it? Why would they run? Why? Do you reckon
people that do bad things to other people without their consent wouldn't have done it if they'd received the training?
I do not think that's going to stop them.
Don't reckon?
I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong on that. But I don't know that that's actually a thing. And I understand that it is a precaution that they have to take in universities, especially given such a large group of young people and a lot of them left on their own devices. But, I don't know. What do you think?
It makes me think that maybe there are 2 different types of doing something wrong.
Yeah, why?
I think there's the type of doing something wrong because you were ignorant about what you're doing. You didn't realize it was wrong, because some things are like that.
Yeah.
And then it makes me think that other people do stuff wrong because they know it is.
So maybe in the case of, I'm just going to use this as an example, and for anyone who is sensitive to discussion of any sort of sexual assault, please cover your ears maybe. But if there's somebody at a university who doesn't understand that consent, how do I word this without it being confusing? I don't know. I just don't know that us doing a quiz online is going to stop potential sexual assaulters from sexually assaulting in the first place. And I think maybe those people probably won't be in uni in the first place, and maybe that's a really big generalization. But
They won't be in uni in the first place.
maybe they won't. Like,
how come?
well, I guess that's not true. They would be in uni but I don't know. What do you think?
Whether do I think they'll be in uni or not?
No, your original question.
My original question.
What was it?
I didn't really have a question. I was just like, what are you meant to do about people that do the wrong thing, knowing that it is the wrong thing? What are you meant to do about that? How are you meant to? Are we meant to train them?
And how do you know?
Are we meant to catch them before they do it? How do you discern?
And when you've done that consent thing and then you offend, but you've done the consent thing, what happens?
Do you get in bigger trouble?
Do you
because
get in
you
more
know,
trouble because you signed it?
Do you get in less trouble if you haven't done the training?
I think
Can you then be like, well, no one offered me training?
I think maybe what this sort of thing is for, because I know that a lot of the other universities are doing it as well. They, like, maybe they're doing it, and I haven't done the quiz yet, but maybe it has things about education on it is not okay to get a girl drunk, or it's not okay to get a guy drunk and take advantage of them. Maybe it's in like the little subliminal ways that people do things that they don't realize is an offense in the first place.
What if you don't get someone drunk, they get themselves drunk? Should you not talk to them anymore just in case?
I'm not really sure. Depends. Are you both drunk?
What if you're not?
What if you're not drunk? Then you probably, well, if you're not
Are you not supposed to talk to them anymore?
Yeah, you still
because you're like, because what if you're, okay.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Well, okay. So say for example, you're out with a friend. You've been in the friend zone with each other for a while. You guys go out. One of you has an early thing in the morning the next day, so you're not drinking.
Yep.
The other one's like having a drink. They get drunk. You've both feel like you've had a thing for each other for ages.
Yeah.
The person that's been drinking is consensual at the time. Are you just meant to not?
Yeah. See, I wonder. I'm not sure. That's one of those weird blurry lines, because it's like, how do you measure the level of drunkenness to be able to consent in the first place? How do you know when you
Everybody needs breathalyzers.
Yeah, but even then, it affects people differently on different levels. Like, it might depend on whether that person had Panadol that day, or whether that person has eaten that day.
Where are they in their cycle?
Where they're in their cycle, like all sorts of things.
Male or female?
Male or female?
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I find it strange.
There's a male hormonal cycle, is there?
Yeah, there is a male hormonal cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know much into that.
Yeah.
But I've heard about it.
But you will.
Yeah.
Because you're a studying psychologist now.
I am studying
as of yesterday.
I will learn about this. Be interesting. Yeah. One of the things she did say yesterday, and I said, I'd like the stats on that. She was like, it is important to make friend groups within university life, because I know a lot of you older students will probably have your friendship groups established. They're banging on my coffee. You'll have your friendships established and stuff. And then I was like, I'd like to see the data on that. She was like, there is.
And is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. The university survey.
So, these Lydia and Joshua both said, if there is alcohol involved, don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
Is that because I haven't been in this position for a long time.
So that's fine. But what's the reason for that? What's the reason for don't do anything? Because it's the honorable thing to do, or it's the safest thing to do for you?
Yeah, because you don't want to get in trouble.
Because what if you're not a creep? What if you are? What if you and this other person?
What if it's a misunderstanding?
well, no. Like, what if you have always had a thing for this other person, and you think that they've always kind of had a thing for you, but it's always been complicated, and you've just kind of left it.
Yeah.
And you know, like, is it the alcohol? Is it the alcohol the other person's had? Is that all it is? Because alcohol reduces people's
inhibitions.
Yep. So if you're with that person, you could, it's whatever you can convince yourself as well. But you could be like, well, now that their inhibitions have dropped, they're being forthcoming with me about this thing between us that there's always been. And like, this could be the start of a beautiful thing or a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So do you back out of it because it's the honorable thing to do? Or do you back out of it because it's the smartest legal decision to make?
But that's behaving out of fear in a way.
Both ways.
Yeah. If you're okay with drunk, even if you like something, it isn't always the same as when you be comfortable with sober. Yeah, well, in the general experience, most of my experiences whilst drunk are all not ones that I would have done sober.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
I made a lot of decisions not sober.
Yeah. And what is your view on that now?
Looking back, I was massively taken advantage of in a lot of ways because I was such a keen drinker.
Were you a victim of
what?
Well, no, do you feel victimized?
Oh, no.
No?
Because you could turn it around in many ways. Like, surely I was no perfect little angel when I was drinking. So, like, does it go both ways? If you're both drunk monkeys, but you still regret it the next day, and you can't actually remember consenting, then who's in the wrong there? I don't really understand. Do you think
people make it about whoever is the most physically powerful has the most responsibility?
Perhaps, yeah.
And do you think that's fair?
Not really sure. Really. Can you word it another way?
Like is well, because you were sort of saying, I think you were kind of saying it takes two to tango.
In most of the situations I've been in, yeah.
But does the person, and so you're a petite, small person. And
no,
so
I don't
most
think
of
any
the
of
men...
them had any more responsibility than I did to that whole situation, because a lot of the time I was, and I guess like many people would argue with this. I know that they would. I was responsible for myself, and I was responsible for the alcohol I was taking in, although not my fault that I had such a drinking problem. I do not feel that I was victimized by a lot of the men because I wasn't being responsible for myself in that situation. And a lot of people would argue with that, but I feel responsible for a lot of the actions and things that happened to me as a teenager or a young adult sort of thing. Because
what do you think your response? So if you think you are responsible for some of that,
50-50, I'd say.
Okay, what were your responsibilities?
To perhaps not have a drinking problem and drinking in excessive amounts, which caused a lot of the problems that I had in my life already anyway. I was young, so you could almost say that I couldn't help myself.
Were you blind to a lot of this at the time? Like, or were you conscious of what was going on?
What do you mean, like with my reckless behaviors?
Were you like, oh, like that happened again, and I did that? Yeah. Or
yeah. I'd just be like, well, did that again. Yeah. I was never like, you did this to me. This is on you. Like, I always was responsible for the actions that I'd carried out in the state of mind I was in.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Just that, I think like the basic broad strokes of interaction between the sexes is pretty much obvious. You know, like I feel like yes, there's heaps of gray area, but I think the real broad ones are: don't have sex with anybody that clearly doesn't want to have it with you. Don't
or can't decide to.
Don't violently abuse people. You know, those are pretty. You know, like don't do things to other people's bodies that they don't want. Yeah, is pretty clear.
Yeah.
But
it's not back then we weren't as well educated about that stuff.
But all the grey areas are really tough, I think. And I think the grey areas at the moment, and this isn't about sympathy.
No.
But I think men are really confused now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're really confused. I really think they don't know. And I think the men that are confused are the ones that weren't really a problem. They're confused. Well, because I think most men are most reasonable men are willing to and open to take on a lot of the criticism that men are getting right now. Because a lot of all of the criticism that men are getting is valid because we're talking about actual men that have done these actual things. But obviously not all men do those things, and some men know how to conduct themselves, and they do. But I think they are the ones that aren't a risk to women are the ones that are confused because they're just because I think they've just gone, I'm part of this problem. Yeah. Even though they're probably not. Yeah. And they're the ones that are confused.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
But could be wrong.
Yeah. Because now when you go out, nice guys look so scared.
Yeah, they do. But how do you know they're nice guys?
And the wankers.
Maybe they're not nice. Maybe they're evil. That's why they can't look you in the eye.
Well, the wankers out there are still wankers.
Yeah, you see them in the roads abusing old ladies in their cars.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean they're necessarily
They need the training.
Would you say?
Give them the training.
Would you say? I was wondering about this the other day. So this is a massive generalization on people as a whole. When I was driving, I left here the other day, and there was as I went around to the lights around near Darlington over there. Probably shouldn't use that. Whatever, guys.
Don't identify our location. The CIA are listening.
I was driving around the corner, and a man in his truck who was sitting at the lights startled me because he was hanging out of his truck, abusing the shit out of the woman in the car in front of him, and just brutal. It was really quite horrible. And I was like, if he gets out, she's going to be really scared. Anyway, so then I was like, is it men who don't have those impulse controls under control, men who are more likely to abuse, like men who are verbally abusing people in the street? Are they more likely to assault people at home or in their lives in general?
What do you reckon?
Do you think that's an impulse thing? Because he could not hold his shit together to the point where even a person driving past in their car could hear them and was startled by it. I'm an easy startler, but what do you reckon about that?
It's absolutely an impulse.
It's brutal, isn't it?
Who's going to...
I've been thinking about that and really putting it in my head.
Can you imagine if it wasn't an impulse and it was a premeditated way to behave? Imagine preparing yourself to go do that. It'd be because when in the UFC and stuff, they hang out by themselves, listen to music, and they chill out and get in the zone so that they can conjure it up and stuff. That dude isn't sitting at home meditating because he's like, I got to take that old lady on later.
Can't wait to scare people in their cars.
Gonna get that bitch.
I just felt really bad for him because then it reminded me of that time where you cut that guy off by accident in your blue van, and he wanted to kill you.
He did. He was trying to rip the window
in the Macca's drive-through
the car. Yeah.
I
was in the wrong.
You were in the wrong, and you apologized.
But I wasn't that wrong.
Yeah, and he was like, "You see my leg?" We were like, "Sorry, buddy."
But you know what? He calmed down eventually.
Yeah.
He calmed down, and eventually he became...
You put your window down.
Well, no. But only because the window, he nearly got it the whole way down. I had to hold on to... I'm holding the thing, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. And then his last hurrah, he was like, I'm feeling a little... I think I have managed...
Artery.
Yeah, I think I've gotten some of this out now, and I'm starting to wear off a bit, but I'm still a little bit angry, so I'm going to... Now you're going to have to rearrange your side mirror now.
But remember, you used to get pretty angry when you used to drive.
I did.
Remember that fight with the old lady?
The old lady. The one that stood in the
She
car
was really
parking
ridiculous
space.
about
She
it,
was ridiculous.
but you were ridiculous about
I was
it too.
ridiculous too.
It was.
I wasn't doing very well.
No, you weren't.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I gave it the parking space.
Yeah, you did.
Because
I was like, you need to get the fuck away from here.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
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 Oh, the past.
Oh, the past.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I got revenge on another driver once recently that involved him being a jerk to me, but a bunch of other drivers. Yeah, no, it's not just men that are abusive, actually. That's one of the things that we've got on our list of topics to come up, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Which we can
How
talk
do you
about
say her
now.
name?
It's not, that's it. So I don't know if any of you have heard about or been advertised on Facebook, this show. I think it's called Sahas of Sunset on Hey You. Has anyone heard of that?
How did you come across this?
It was on, you know, when you watch Facebook videos and Next Up,
Yeah.
it came up, and I've seen shows advertised on there before, and one of them was quite interesting, but it's reality TV, I think. Like it's a Bravo show or something.
Okay.
Anyway, so the video was playing. It's fucking Murphy.
Bloody Murphy.
So there's this guy who walks his dog purposely on the other side of the road and razzes up the dogs down the street. It makes me so mad. Stop doing that.
Like all of the dogs in the whole neighborhood.
And he doesn't put the dog on a lead,
nuts.
but when he does, it pulls him across the street, the poor guy. And he ate my apple once.
He did. Murphy likes apples.
Christy has run across this show. Yeah. So the trailer for it was this young woman. She must be in her 20s, maybe. I'm assuming she's in her 20s, and she's in this show with her family. And from a quick Google I did, it's an Iranian show that's not received very well in the communities of the Iranians and all of those people that associate with those people. And because it's not representing their culture well, because on it, this woman in this trailer was abusing the crap out of everyone in her family, like really aggressively, to the point where the end scene of the trailer was her running out of a club, not accidentally, smacking her hand into her boyfriend's face or someone's face, and then needing to be restrained by her bodyguard guy. And she looked like a toddler having a tantrum. But all through the scenes of this trailer was just her threatening to cut her sister's face with her knives.
She pulls out a taser.
She pulls out a knife. She chucks a tanty in what looks like an art gallery and starts screaming and carrying on. And I just was like, the way she was behaving, probably in a way, like, I don't know.
Because she's not going to get the views if she's not doing it.
But she's clearly not being helped, and I feel like this show in a couple of years when she looks back is going to be incredibly detrimental to the
being
problems.
Encouraged.
Yeah, and that was like, if that was a man behaving like that on TV, and like how aggressive she was with the other men and stuff was just disgusting, and it's just a horrible case of double standards.
Are there examples of men carrying on like that on TV?
Well, no. Not like only in acting and stuff, not reality TV. Well, that's what I've seen.
I remember a Big Brother clip from Europe or something.
Oh yeah,
where a dude laid into a.
But this consistent, like.
No.
It's being showcased. Her aggression and her violent behavior is being showcased to draw people in to watch it. And it almost got me. I was like, I need to know more about this woman. She is nuts.
Do people watch it because they're like, you know how we were talking about one of the reasons why Sailor Moon was such a cool show back in the day was because Sailor Moon was a huge fuck up. She just fucked up all the time.
So many failures.
Yeah.
No, I don't think this is it. Unless all of the women out there watching this show are aggressive, violent women. Then, yeah, maybe they are. And I just think the behaviors she was exhibiting are so unconscious and so gross that it should not be a TV show. It's actually one of the executive producers is Ryan Seacrest.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. But like, and you know, it's not received well in their community because it's not a good representation.
It's not received well
of Iranian American families.
So the Iranian Americans are upset about her?
This is what Wiki says, yeah.
Right.
Not her specifically, about the whole show, because it's so materialistic and so yuck.
Is this like the My Big Fat Greek Wedding of Iranian representation?
Yeah, but with more violence and more knives.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, is anyone... Let me just...
So people are upset about her behavior because they're making her represent something bigger than herself?
Yes. Yeah, this is a reality show. Sorry?
People are upset, more upset with her because of the way she misrepresents something that's bigger than her race, her community.
No, the community is pissed off with the entire show, not just her and her behavior. The whole show is like that.
How much does the show hinge on the fact that she's Iranian American?
I don't know whether they have all different... Yeah, she's a spoiled beast. Imagine that she's allowed to get away with for who she is. What is she? Like, what does she do? Is she famous for something?
She's famous for this.
Yeah. Hang on, someone's doing it. I think it's like a fire. People are drawn to fire. I always heard that if you are being attacked, you should yell fire instead of rape to get people's attention. Oh, brutal.
Is that because people joke about rape so much? People yell out rape all the time.
Do they?
Like young, intoxicated, silly people.
Even the girls do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that show is foul. But yeah,
But what I want to know is, like, I guess I have to watch it, but in the show, do they make a big deal about the whole family being Iranian American? Are they just like, is an Iranian flag in every second shot in one of the rooms in their houses or something like that?
I don't know.
Like, are they there to represent Iranian Americans?
Probably not.
So why does their behavior, why do we get to connect to their
behavior? You know why.
Why?
Because just in the same way that we have hashtag all men, it is hashtag all Iranian Americans. So it's same with hashtag whatever group you're part of. Same thing. Representation of the masses is more important than the individual.
Right.
Yeah. So they don't want to go, she's not like us. I can separate from that. She's Iranian American. I can't separate from that because that's me.
Jussie Smollett faked a hate crime, and then everyone's not like, Will Smith's going to do it next because they're the same creed.
No, because Morgan Freeman already did it.
Morgan Freeman faked a hate crime, or he committed a hate crime?
He committed a hate crime.
What did he do?
As far as I know, he was sexually harassing people.
Yeah.
Morgan
like
Freeman.
Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of? Is it the same sort of thing as that?
You could argue that
is he, okay, like which part of the spectrum is he, the Neil deGrasse Tyson or
what's his name? Weinstein?
No,
Weinstein.
no. Cosby.
Oh, I don't think it's like that. You could, I guess.
Like, who's worse, Cosby or Weinstein?
I don't think there's a difference between the worst.
No, but like which is the worst example of famous rich people doing horrific, disgusting things with their fame?
Was Cosby with kids?
Bill Cosby, well, I don't know if he was with kids, but Bill Cosby allegedly drugged a bunch of people, and then they'd come to when he was done.
I would say Weinstein, because his is worse because so many people knew about it and continued to allow it to happen. Although you could argue that for Bill Cosby as well.
What do you mean?
Well,
lots of people knew.
Probably knew. I think that's silly to assume that no one knows about any sexual assault and abuse, and out of all of those counts of abuse, no one saw nothing. Yeah, but maybe Cosby
was more clever, and that the people that did know knew because they were into it. I don't know.
I highly.
That's a bit conspiracy, though.
Morgan Freeman was accused of multiple harassment on set. Yeah. But you don't really hear much about it. I guess it's like there's a plethora of other abusive stuff.
There's too many.
People run from rape. They do. They'll be like, oh shit, I don't want to be involved in that. Rape equals danger, possibly violence. That's true.
This is just the part of the trip where I'm running from rape.
Cash Me Outside Girl from Dr. Phil. Oh, she's getting a show.
Of course she is.
We were going to talk about Dr. Phil today.
I thought she already had one. She's a YouTuber.
Do you remember if we watched her in an interview and stuff?
We
time
did.
She was baking brownies with that guy?
I think so.
Cash Me Outside.
She's another tantrum thrower, isn't she? Doesn't she throw shit around?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah? She gets mad? She's going to cut people?
Yeah. We watched that Dr. Phil episode where they forced that girl to go to a show at 2 a.m.
She doesn't want to go to the ranch.
She doesn't want to go to the ranch. She doesn't want to go to the
PewDiePie.
Dr. Phil show, so her parents woke her up at 2 a.m.
Well, we watched PewDiePie talk about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is a say whatever you want about him. It's a good way to learn about things through him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really freaked me out. Like I've always been kind of on the fence with the Dr. Phil thing because I've heard other people that I admire speak admirably about Dr. Phil, which whenever they did always just sort of surprised me because I was like, isn't he kind of full of shit though?
Well, I think he's not. What I think has happened is he is not filled with shit.
He's not filled
He's
with
not
shit.
filled with shit.
Yeah.
But what has happened is that he was once a brilliant psychologist.
You know this?
No.
Okay, go on.
This is just my idea.
Mm-hmm.
He was a brilliant psychologist for the first part of his career where he was not famous. He got famous and he
Through
was like...
Oprah.
Through Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got like, he was all right. He was doing all right. But now he got into that dirty side of fame where he's like, I'm just the Jerry Springer side. Yeah. He's gone to the part where
he's crossed over into
kids.
You Are Not the Father.
Yeah. But
his
in your head.
His You Are Not the Father is you're going to the ranch.
Yeah. And he doesn't write that and into that. I think he doesn't write any of that. He is following a script of what keeps people entertained because successful happy endings do not make sales.
But it's starting to appear as though, or a lot of the people that I have, I don't watch the original videos. I've watched people's edits and assessments of these videos, but it's starting to look like Dr. Phil manipulates young kids into walking off stage,
coming back,
and then coming back, and then walking off again, just so he's like, see, she needs to go to the ranch.
I've seen him do this a few times.
What sort of kickback is he getting from the ranch?
Oh, I don't know. But the way that they trick the girls onto their show, like he tricks them on. They trick them on. They abduct them during the middle of the night because that's not traumatic.
Yeah.
Like that girl that they took
with a
at
camera
2 a.m.
crew.
with a camera crew and expected her to be happy to go.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarre. She went anyway. And then they promised that her sister would be out there. It plays like a prank
video. They're like, it's like punked. They're like, we're just outside her door. She's going to be fucking pissed. She does not want to go to the ranch.
I don't know why she's so mad. It's nothing to do with her mean dad.
But then in that one, the younger sister was the one that was like going to kill everyone.
Yeah, he was scared.
But then they separating the sisters and stuff, and they just want to be with each other. And she's like, oh, and the thing about her phone, she was like, and she had the militant dad.
Yeah, he was from the military.
And the dad's like, he was basically saying because she tried LSD and she's on her phone a lot, he's worried she's going to kill him in the night.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Dad, but you have PTSD, my friend.
You gotta get that shit sorted.
Yeah.
He locks up their bedrooms at nighttime.
Yeah.
And he bombards his wife, and his daughter into their bedroom at nighttime because their 15-year-old's gonna kill them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she really doesn't seem like she actually just cried the whole time.
And she's devastated because you took her phone away. And like, yeah, phone addiction's a real thing, but also like based on the way like you based on the way that your family interact with your children, it's understandable that she wants to talk to the community that understands her friends, the people that like know her. Like just because you think you know what's best for your child doesn't mean that you're more connected to them than the peer group that they've decided to connect to in adolescence, regardless of what you think about it.
Because our parents never know who we really are.
No.
Mum would be so proud.
The second, man, your brain goes through so many changes through adolescence. The second you become even a shred of a teenager, you are out there on your own. I am deciding what I think about everything, and I'm probably going to decide the opposite things my parents want, especially if they're very, very, very vocal about what they want from me.
Yeah, and then he's Dr. Phil's the hero. Let's Google the Dr. Phil Ranch.
Yeah, then he's Dr. Phil the hero. But like, how did the ranch do for Cash Me Outside Girl? Did she go to the ranch?
Well, I think she did go to the ranch.
Did she go to the ranch?
Turnabout Ranch, it's called.
Turnabout Ranch.
Turnabout Ranch.
Turn 'em out ranch.
They smoke, they drink, they speed, they pop pills. They pop their peers. Disappear all night and respect their parents all day. teens gone wild, and Dr. Phil has a huge wake-up call for them
It's
and their
a big
parents.
wake-up call for them.
Parents, if
Do you
you're
know
in
what the
power
wake-up
struggle
call?
with your
Do
teen,
you know what the wake-up call for them is? This is a launch pad. Come onto my show. This is a launch pad for a career in throwing tantrums on the internet. Go for it.
yeah.
Maybe a secret sex tape or two.
Wow. There's a whole like list of things that.
Do you reckon it's kind of like Idol? It's like a backdoor thing, and they're like, Dr. Phil's like, here's the contract. We want 10% of everything you make on YouTube from now on. Just keep it up. We're going to send you to the ranch, and then you're just going to come back
Guys.
bigger than ever, and we're going to have a piece of that pie.
I've got the whole schedule for the Turnabout Ranch right here.
Oh, let's do it.
It's long.
Yeah.
They get up at 6:30.
Yep.
They have breakfast, do morning chores.
Mm-hmm.
Then 8, they go to school, horsemanship, ranch projects, therapy, life skills, student outings. How do they do all that in just 2 hours? 1 hour.
They get it
Oh
done.
no, it's 4 hours. Then they have some lunch. They go an hour for lunch. Then they go back to all that stuff, the therapy. Then they do goals. Then they do dinners, chores, free times at 6 to 8:30. Homework. 1 hour of quiet time.
1 hour of quiet
I
time.
like it. Lights out at 9:30. It's an appropriate time. Then the next day.
Cash me after quiet
So it goes
time.
from Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday is different. They get a lot more free time. They got to go to church on Sunday.
Ooh.
Of course, Dr. Phil sends them to church. They got an academic program. They go to school 2 to 3 times per week. Ranch projects. Look, it sounds like a great time. Admissions.
I'd like it.
Someone can make me dinner.
I want to go to the ranch.
I want to go to the. Can you
I'm gonna
send
throw a
me to the
tantrum.
ranch?
I'll send you to the ranch.
What would you send me there for?
You're going to the ranch for not farting enough.
I knew you could say that.
Did you?
Yeah,
You knew that was coming?
I did. I wonder how much it costs to send me to the ranch. Let's have a look.
Have they got pricing on there?
They got financial information.
Uh-huh.
Let's have a look.
Do they have Afterpay?
Do they have Afterpay in the US?
Afterpay in the
Or in the
ranch.
UK?
Zip Pay.
I'm gonna zip pay it.
Let's
You
go
can get it
to
in
the ranch
Dutch.
on Zip Pay.
It doesn't say. You can do it through loans if you want.
Okay.
Get a loan.
Sweet.
Just go to the psychologist.
Let's go to the site. They did. He sent them to the ranch.
You have no idea what this is? The ranch? Is that what you mean?
The ranch.
Yeah,
the,
but the schedule's fake too.
the ranch is the fix kids farm that Dr. Phil sends kids
Wayward
that his
teens
camera crew
do.
hijack
Yeah.
in the middle of the night.
I bet they love it there because they're like, thank God I'm away from my mum and dad. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the parents on there are pretty
Do you reckon there's Wi-Fi at the ranch?
No,
No.
there's no Wi-Fi at the ranch.
Pen pals.
They
You have to have
got
a
they
pen
got dial
pal.
up.
Dial
So
up
they got to
internet.
test their irritability skills. They got to work on their patients by using dial up.
Mhm.
And then they've actually given old Macs with like an old Windows program
Does
to type
anyone-
their journals.
Does anyone still use dial-up? Do you reckon if you used a dial-up connection, you
They
would be
probably
able
use
to
it.
go anywhere on the internet now? Could you go
Because it's so fast.
because and websites rely on a certain like speed, surely.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm.
That'd be pretty funny though.
Hmm.
But would it still work?
I'm sure it does.
We have to get it. Who's got
It's got
dial
to
up?
be a thing.
You guys got dial
Someone's
up?
on dial-up.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Phil does need some time there. It's like a
Dr.
private
Phil
school.
needs to go to the ranch.
Can you imagine? He probably pops in on the weekends, I bet. He does like a little, he's like a come and shine Dr. Phil's head day. It's really relaxation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Poor Dr. Phil.
Poor Dr. Phil.
But his wife goes to every
Wait, why do we feel
session
bad for Dr. Phil?
'cause he's got a bald head. And it's all
Ah,
shiny and people.
Oh, he doesn't mind. That's all right.
Like PewDiePie was making fun of his
Oh, his
head.
forehead.
His forehead's so big.
Yes, and the dad, militant
Militant
dad.
dad had a big forehead too.
Had a big
And they had
forehead
like
as
a
well.
frown off.
Yeah, but Dr. Phil was the top of that totem pole.
How come? So when you have a forehead, as
Mhm.
we all do,
I've got one. Yeah,
when so you
I
frown.
can relate to this.
Yeah. So you've got frowning lines. Do yours? Yeah, pretty impressive frown lines, right? Why doesn't the frown lines go all the way up to the back of your head? Is it gravity pushing the front of your forehead down that helps make,
I think it's just this.
or is there no muscle? There's
Your
no.
expressions stretch the skin over time, and those bits, I guess, become less elastic. Have less elasticity.
Just then I felt like.
Is that the
you
right
were
word
the
for
kid.
skin? Does skin
Yeah.
have elasticity? That is a
Yeah.
cross-platform word.
Yeah. I think it's when you've got lots of collagen, it's elasticy, but the
Oh.
more you lose collagen in your skin over time.
Did you hear the thing that cellulite is not real? Cellulite manufactured concept?
What? Yeah, I can imagine.
I read that.
Where'd you read that?
Just, I don't know. Those words
Well,
just splashed
yes.
by me somewhere.
Yes. So cellulite, the word with the concept of cellulite is a created thing.
Right.
But it's actually just a dimpling of the skin.
Yeah.
You can't. People claim you can fix it, but I don't know. I've seen people with like tiny legs with cellulite.
Right.
Because they just had to give it a name.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, cellulite. Oh, sweet. We've got a name for it. Now we can market products towards it.
Is it a thing a person causes, or is it just it's like eczema?
It's fatty
or whatever?
deposits in your skin.
Right. And
So
it's random?
Yeah. Not everyone has it because
It's got
some
nothing
people
to do
have.
with body type?
I don't think so.
No.
No, because you can see really like curvier women with cellulite and really, really skinny people like me. I've got cellulite.
Don't really hear that word very much anymore. It's a word I was very familiar with as a young person.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I ever see as much in men, but men tend to carry less fat than women.
Less.
Is that true?
Yes.
Like less like
Women
fatty
have
deposits?
Store more body fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we need to be able to survive, outlast you guys when there's no food left.
Is that why?
Probably.
Right.
Nah, it's because we have to we're supposed to be producing children all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, 24/7.
Shit.
Mm.
You haven't showed up to work for a while.
I've not showed up to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't have any more babies.
You've gone past, you haven't shown up to work for so long, it's gone past that point where like they stopped calling you, you stopped calling them, you're just going to show up and return your uniform.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Your handmaiden's tale uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's the eras of my life's done.
That show's coming back.
What show?
Handmaiden's Tale. You excited?
June. Yeah. I am actually.
Yeah.
I forgot how it ended.
I just couldn't watch it.
Why?
It's too, and not many things are. It's just too nasty.
Oh, it's just
the women are too nasty to each other on that show.
It's very realistic,
and it makes me feel.
Yeah, but it's probably the men's fault.
The men on that show are useless, aren't they?
It was her brainchild. The idea that everyone went with it's like if Jordan Peterson wrote a book about the real way to live and everyone actually just copied it and everyone would do it.
Wait, isn't that what made it? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, but it's if his book came to fruition and everyone took it on. And if he said you have to wear a blue hat and you have to wear a pink hat.
In the story.
Yeah, in the story of his book, that's what happened. Like it's like the Bible. It's kind of like that. It's like now a group of people, a large group of people, which is fine, follow that idea. It's just like if I wrote a book and everyone was like, "Whoa, this is like the new Bible," and then they all read it and then they all live out the moral examples in the story. Same thing. That's what happened in that.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people want to say that. A lot of people want to point to the idea that like doctrines like that, if they become really widespread, that the way that society conducts itself is a reflection of that doctrine. So if that's the case, in The Handmaid's Tale, they found out a fair while ago that the doctrine that she wrote wasn't working out.
Yeah. But then it got corrupted and darkened over time, especially when, obviously, I don't know, I can't really remember too clearly, but the involvement of men into it just got too much. The power of that.
Oh.
It's like a story
once
between
men ran with it.
Yeah, like.
So she
started it.
And then it was powered by men.
Well, yeah, and then the natural progression of her idea was that the men took over, and then she became insubordinate. Is that the word? Or
I think so.
What's it called? Less. She accidentally wrote herself into a lesser role than the man that she was with.
That's very interesting because that does happen. There are examples of that when examples in trolling. I can't remember the exact example now, but there's a few of them. One of them was a guy was trolling as some sort of like white supremacist, and it was a joke. but then it actually started picking up like proper followers, and he was messing with them and accidentally incited this thing that turned into this group, and it got bad, and the dude that started it as a joke ended up out of it, but now it's rolling on, it's snowballing without him now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oops. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. There's a book I'm supposed to read, Hunting for Trolls.
Troll hunting?
Troll Hunting?
Yeah, by Ginger Gorman. Is that the one?
That's the one.
It's everywhere at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, I follow her on Facebook.
Okay.
Apparently it's really good. So
apparently it is really good.
Let's read it.
It'll make you terrified of the internet.
Yeah, but
everybody already is doing that, making you terrified of the internet.
It's the eyebrow muscles, raise your forehead.
I'm not actually really worried. I'm not really worried about all of the danger and stuff on the internet. I think everybody, it's so far I haven't really heard any solutions that sound any more developed than just putting your thumb over a running tap.
Still just gonna play
You just got shit spraying everywhere. I think this is just the inevitable. We are inevitably going to mentally fuse together. The internet is going to become an additional sense of the human body.
Existence.
It's going to be completely, at some point, the internet,
You just be able to go
they're
like
going to
this
figure
to
out
change tabs.
at some point how to integrate the internet into human consciousness. And once that happens, we are mentally all going to be one, and all like, and it's going to be really ugly
for a while.
But the result of that is going to be, and you're never going to remove all ugliness. There's always going to be some ugliness, but the result of that is that like we all in this weird way individually become one. Like you just have to be more tolerant of each other, because we all have to live in the same mind now.
Yeah.
So and that will be maddening. And
if you don't get your shit together.
Yeah, you know, and so it's going to be horrible for lots and lots of people
to try and
But
adjust.
all advancements in like it's always been that way. It's always going to be that way.
There's a virus program, and it just weeds out the ones that can't get their shit together to create a perfect society. Oh,
it's so weird now that like crazy sci-fi is not crazy. Sci-fi tends to just be a prediction.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Makes me feel weird, but we won't be around.
It does make me feel weird. But yeah, so it's going to get ugly at first, but it's like, you know, if there's no such thing as the collective unconscious, there's going to be the collective unconscious will be this internet sense that you have.
I think the collective unconscious is probably a thing,
but it'll get all the bullshit out of the way, because no one will be able to, there'll be no more lying. You won't be able to lie anymore. We'll live in a world with complete honesty and honesty, even honesty and humility, even in the worst of situations, is always the way forward.
But does there not need to be light and dark in everything? So does there not need to be able to be the ability to lie and the ability to tell the truth?
We will never be able to remove the natural occurrence of negative feelings in a person.
Yeah.
But
so then the internet comes and shuts them down.
So even when you conquer negativity in your own life, it doesn't mean you don't feel negative things or have negative thoughts. It just means you know how to cope with them. So it means that like if we all become joined with internet sense at some point, it's not going to remove negative or nasty or snide comments or whatever, but it is going to force everybody that's on it to get better at dealing with that stuff.
Yeah. Let's call it any sense.
Any sense. Any out.
Any outy sense. I think the internet.
Yeah, oh no, it's the into my mind.
Talk about hearing voices in your head. Oh, what sort of voices in your head? Because I have many. I think I did have to toilet before I started talking about that. I think the internet will become less important. I think it'll reach a new high, and then it'll stop when people go back to reading books and playing board games.
They already do.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
Already do.
I'm gonna go talk.
Books have only become. I think books have only become more popular because of the internet. Like the internet has made books way easier to find, way easier to get access to, and way easier to read. You don't even have to buy the book anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So I got in contact with you guys yesterday. I put up another little video about getting you guys to do some lyric work, some lyric video creation for my song Begin. I really like that song. I wonder if you guys will. It's very different. It's up on my SoundCloud at the moment. If you want to hear music that I sort of put out on the sly, then you want to follow me on SoundCloud. And if you want to see videos of my dog all the time, Bimo, because she's a mung, then you can follow me on Instagram. I seem to be turning my Instagram into a dog location, a dogogram. They're out the back because they are barking. They're being noisy. I can hear her. She heard you say her name.
She did.
She's upset. Do you want to put the aircon on?
Yeah, right.
It's a bit warm in Gunston. I closed some of the door. We have evaporative air conditioning, which means you have to have some of the windows open for it to work properly. And I closed some of the doors because Murphy set off all the dogs around our neighborhood. Bloody Murphy. Murphy likes apples. It is very different, but I like it. I mean, if the internet was part of the humans as a whole, I feel like everybody would be able to hear everybody's thoughts. I think that's exactly what it would be like, and I think that would be a horrible thing for lots of people. But as I said, it's a good way
to weed out the weirdos.
When people need to sort their shit out, like back in the old days, they're like, right, you're not leaving this room until this is sorted out. Right. And it's like, I'm not leaving my mind until this is sorted out. It's going to be a huge.
Till you get help.
There's going to be no such thing as privacy, no such thing as secrecy, which is going to be horrific for so many people. But you're going to be able to understand anyone. Yeah.
And that will be better for empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you won't just hear people's shitty thoughts. You'll be able to maybe even trace back like the development of those shitty thoughts. And then you'd be like, oh man.
Like the internet, you can trace it back anywhere. So you do the same thing.
You just be like, oh man, that person's just trying to make things better and they're not doing it very well. But I can see why they thought that was going to work.
All you need is a Snickers.
Yeah. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
You're not yourself when you're hungry. Leto apologized for being hungry. He called me an idiot and then apologized because he was hungry. I was just so hungry, Mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, idiot.
Yeah. But he's never called me an idiot before. And I was like, oh, and even Tosh was like, oh, he called you an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you being an idiot?
No, I was actually being pretty nice, really.
Oh, okay.
For a mum.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything. Oh, Beano.
Oh, no.
Wow, they don't smell good.
No, they don't. That's why I got them out of here, because they stink.
You smell
They smell terrible.
Winnie. What is this? Why do you stink?
It's the heat. They're not enjoying it.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it? That's real sad. Yep, jump in my laptop. Let's see. I miss my dog. Oh, he left you. Oh, did he pass away? That's nice. My word, my own personal running to go back and see where it all began. It would be interesting. Holding a physical book is much better than a device.
Not if you don't want to wait for the book to come.
You have to buy it on your Kindle.
Waiting is hard in this world. It's harder now.
You reckon?
Don't have to wait.
You don't. You just go, bring me a... It comes.
You don't have to wait for the next episode.
It's the weirdest thing you've bought on the internet.
The weirdest thing I've bought on the internet? I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Weirdest thing you've bought on the internet.
It's the weirdest thing you've bought on the internet. I used to buy t-shirts for no reason.
You bought a lot of shit for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, there was a reason. You're trying to fill a hole that things can't fill. Bimo does need to say hi, but she's like...
She's too big.
It's hard to... Like, because Shaun's got on the floor like
everything
a debt mixing thing. Maybe I can get her. Hang on.
She's too big.
Bimo. Bimo, come on. Yeah.
She's not coming. She's doing that. She's doing that. Look, I love you, but I'm not moving from here.
Come on. Come here. Yeah, Bimo. Come on.
You always just got to wait a little while.
Out the way.
for the big ones.
Oh,
It takes a while. It takes a while from the ideas to get from her brain to her nervous system.
Oh, come on, you can do it.
Nah,
She is not interested.
leave her alone. It's too hot.
It's too hot. You leave her alone.
You leave her alone.
Oh, yeah. I have to go do work soon, Dimo.
Do you? What are you going to do that for?
Because you're not taking me on a date.
So
We need to do food
are
shopping.
you trying to set new habits?
I'm trying to set new habits.
How do you do that?
I don't know, actually.
What habits do you have at the moment? If you want to set a new habit, it means you have a habit that you don't want.
Procrastination is a bit of a habit of mine because I've been procrastinating for about 12 years.
What's procrastinating?
It's putting everything off and finding other things to do instead.
What does it look like when you do it?
What it looks like is that to avoid doing the washing, I will clean the entire house instead. So that is going to apply to uni life for me.
So you trade off.
I'm going to clean the house and do the washing instead of my reading.
You trade off productivity for other productivity.
Yeah. Washing is more important than keeping the house clean, in my opinion, because it builds up before you notice, because it's being, I don't know, for some reason I can't get the priorities out of whack. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's more important that the house is cleaner than the washing.
Well, do you end up with stuff that never gets done?
Yep.
What's
Every
that?
time. The pool that's growing mold out there.
I meant to do that.
Yeah. But if I don't go, come on, let's do it, maybe if I did say that, it would get done quicker.
But if you did that, would you be procrastinating or not doing something else you meant to be doing?
Yeah, no. Yes?
What are you concerned about not getting done?
All the things that I'm supposed to get done.
Like what?
Like reading,
Reading what?
school stuff.
When? How much school stuff do you have to read?
Well, I'll be at uni 13 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then there's about 20 plus hours of homework and reading.
Yeah. A week?
Yeah. I don't do any reading these days. How am I going to fit that in with all the other things I'm doing?
Well, then you have to break it down.
Snacks?
No, I mean, you got to break the time down. So well, here's the thing, right? When they tell you, like, you got to do roughly this much reading or whatever a week for you to be able to stay on top of what you're doing, they've got to give you that number based off of whoever they think is going to be take the slowest, right?
Good point.
So you're a proficient reader, you're an experienced reader, you're an experienced researcher, writer, and student, which means that you're probably not going to be in at the 20-hour mark.
Yeah, let's hope.
So then even if it's 20 hours, right? So we just go,
help me fix my life.
okay, 20 divided by 7, right? 2.8. So like that's maybe 2.8 hours of reading a day.
Including
that's at the 20 hours. So if we can assume that like maybe you're going to, because
yeah, I see where you're going
because
with
you have a process down, you know, like you have already developed and sped up your process of finding information, reading information, collating and integrating information. So maybe we can say that you're probably around about half of that, which is 1.4 hours a day.
Okay.
Right. Yep. And so then you're like 1.4 hours a day.
Well, if I did that reading when we get up at 5, then I've already done my day's reading.
Because we read for roughly 1 hour and a half in the morning when we get up at 5. So then, you know, so there's a reason to be in a routine. You can get up at 5, so you can get that 1.5 hour a day.
Yeah.
But also, so you're kind of in a little fortunate in that you've kind of already set a habit a little bit where you do that every day.
Yeah, I don't have to change.
If you didn't, right, then your goal would be, I need to be reading for roughly an hour and a half a day. But at the moment, I don't read at all any day, right? So an hour and a half, this is where procrastination comes in. So you go, I'm going to do something every day from now on from an hour and a half every single day that I've never done before. This is a pattern I've never set, right? This is not something that I do. Now, and we talked yesterday about how the reason that you have patented habitual behavior is because you're not always driving. You set a habit. Sometimes you go into autopilot, and when you're in autopilot, the habits take over. You're not conscious of the decisions you're making all the time. Your brain just repeats the ones that it knows you prefer.
Yeah.
And it knows you prefer them because you do them often enough, right? So then your body's going to be, so your mind and your body's going to be like, fucking hour and a half a day if you don't read at all.
Outrageous.
Yeah. And so then you're going to try it for the first day, and maybe you read for an hour and a half the first day.
Yeah.
And then maybe the next day,
it's just an hour.
You sleep in.
Yeah.
You fuck it up already on the next day.
What have you
and
done?
Because, so then this is called the reality gap. There's a guy called Dr. Russ Harris who has a book out called The Happiness Trap, The Reality Gap as well. And he talks about the reality gap. And the reality gap is the distance between how you currently are and how you think you're meant to be. And if you don't read at all any day in a row, to expect yourself to read for an hour and a half every single day is a pretty big reality gap, because you've never done that.
Yeah,
it's not a set pattern, which means that, like I said yesterday, have you ever tried to pay attention to what you're doing and you couldn't do it? Have you ever tried to pay attention to, like, I struggle a lot sometimes when I'm reading because I realize that I'm reading the words, but I'm thinking about other stuff, and I'm going through the words, but I'm actually going through other stuff. Yeah, I do.
And then I have to go, I do that to you though, and then I have to go, yeah. Sure, Dimo.
Yeah. So if you think you're going to read out of nowhere with no warm-up, no experience, if you think you're going to read for an hour and a half every day, you're not going to last 10 minutes in any of that reading session without being distracted at some point. So then there is a large reality gap in your idea of, I don't ever do this, but starting tomorrow, I'm going to do this for an hour and a half every day. Your attention span and your habitual your habitual automation is going to kick in. It's not going to allow you to do that. And not only is it not going to allow you to do that, your conscious critical mind is going to get down on yourself for not being able to do that, because you're going to assign fault to yourself. And it's not your fault necessarily. You were the one that had the intention. You were the one that made a decision on your best interests. Your habits that you already have took over and changed that for you. So it might mean that it's way more realistic that in the goal of being able to read for an hour and a half every day, I need to know that I can do it for at least 10 minutes a day.
Well,
and here's the thing. There's two things that are most likely to happen. Reading for 10 minutes a day doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're doing something in a bite-sized chunk. It's manageable amount of time to try and insert into every single day, just 10 minutes a day, which means that you're setting a pattern of reading, which means that you are setting an automatic process that's going to be down to do that for 10 minutes a day, right? And then you can just drag it out slowly over time. And not only that, so if you do it that way, if it's manageable, if it's just 10 minutes and you can get it done every single day, you're going to feel good about it, because you're actually achieving the thing you said you were going to do, because it wasn't so far away. There wasn't this huge reality gap between you and that goal, right? And if you don't do it that way and you just dive in, you go hour and a half without any practice, without any warm up, without any effort in setting this as a pattern before today, I'm going to do an hour and a half every day. You're not. You're going to feel terrible. You're going to drop off. And that hour and a half every day is going to end up being zero very quickly, because you're going to be super down on yourself. Yep. And I would argue that in a month of attempting to read for 10 minutes a day compared to a month of trying to force yourself to read for an hour and a half, I bet you by the end of a month of 10 minutes a day, you've read way more than you would have if you tried to bite off an hour and a half every day.
That's like when they say, when you want to be a writer, you should sit down and write for 10 minutes straight without checking it. And that's what you need to do every day.
Pattern.
Just give yourself time. All right. Just get up at 5. Yeah. That fixes my problem.
Yeah. It's the same reason why you can blank out when you go through a bunch of traffic lights and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, did I go through any red lights or whatever? You didn't. You didn't. You've just driven so much that your mind doesn't actually need you to be conscious to make those decisions, because your mind knows, give way to this side, red light, green light, whatever, in the same way that your mind can actually read words. You could read them out loud if you wanted to. You could be reading words out loud and think about something else.
I do it a lot.
Yeah.
Do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. All right.
So you just got to set the right pattern, but in the right increment.
So what pattern do you need to set?
Same.
We're terrible
Same
together.
thing. Yeah.
We're doing the same thing, just separate.
Yeah.
You know, we've been together for so long.
My problems are your problems.
Yeah. Don't read, listen to the books whole. Why are you doing washing? It's actually a good idea. I wonder if I could download audio
books.
How was my first day of uni? It was good, actually. I didn't realize that we were going to be playing games. So we had to like get there. Then we had to make a group of people. And so I found myself a little group of people, which was nice. They were all quite young, but they thought I looked really young. They were like, oh, I thought you were 20, which was awesome. So I get to like play in the middle. I get to be friends with the young people and the old people. And we played this game where we had to wander around and find these things, which was kind of good because I did learn stuff. And I saw my friend there, and I made a Play-Doh duck.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's its name?
Let's call him Collab.
Collab.
Yeah, because it was like we had to collaborate on something, and
right on.
So I made a duck.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended with a lecture.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good luck at trigonometry, Joshua. Yeah, so it was really good, and I felt a lot better about it when I left, and I'm still feeling pretty good about it. It's just the daunting task of trying to find the right textbooks and finding a lunchbox that I like, which we should do today. Give me a lunchbox.
You want a lunchbox?
I want a lunchbox. I want a sick lunchbox. I want a sick lunchbox with a cool section.
A lunchbox with the coolest
But
section.
fits in my bag still. It's a really good lunch.
You mean a lunchbox with a section that keeps things cold, or a lunchbox with like a little roped up area that only like
Cool people
affiliated foods
Yeah,
can
so
hang
like
out in
if
and
I get
stuff.
like a Tim Tam that day.
It's the VIP section of your
Tim Tam
lunchbox.
goes, so, yeah.
Tim Tam goes in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personality
doing
wise,
the-
how do you think Tim Tam goes at a party with other snacks?
Pretty cool.
What
Because it's
happens?
a go-to.
Mm-hmm.
He gets picked a lot.
He does.
Yeah. You would know. You bought some.
I did.
It's going all pixelated.
Yeah, that'll happen. We live in Australia. I'm not solving this problem. Can't do it.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Seems
It's not my
outrageous.
problem to solve.
It isn't your problem to
It's
solve.
not.
Makes life difficult though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Not really.
No?
It doesn't make life difficult at all.
Well, for them it does.
Only for a little bit.
Yeah.
If I could fix it, I'd feel bad,
Yeah.
but I can't.
He makes a valid point.
Yeah.
Met a poppy boxer, LED light streets, and bought LED attaches to the toilet. That's kind of funny.
I will research into we just can't afford, like, even if there is a better internet, we can't afford it at this time.
Surely
anyway.
there's not a better internet. This is the newest one there is.
Yeah, but it's not the best one available. So proper NBN is only in a few houses because the Labor government were doing it.
Oh, that one we had at the old house.
We used to have it, yeah, when we lived at the brick house.
Yeah, the brick house as opposed to the
brick
floss
brick
one.
wood panel house.
The brown house.
Brown house, yeah.
Our friend said it was very brown.
If you used to watch our vlogs back in the day, the house where the kids
Grew up.
drew all over the walls at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that house had Labor internet, which was like proper,
Yeah, we could.
I don't know what it is, fiber to the whatever, I can't remember, but it was like proper new infrastructure. Whereas then the NBN that we have here is NBN that is piggybacking on like 19th
Is it
or
called
20th
NBN overseas?
century. I don't know what it's called.
Just the internet?
Sure.
Because they probably got better ones.
I don't think
They call it different things.
You know what? They probably don't need to refer to it in
As-
any acronym because it just works.
They don't have to worry.
I don't have to discern between different kinds of internet because it's probably affordable and it's probably reliable, and you could probably use it to do remote control surgeries.
Whoa.
We can't hear.
Yeah, it's not
Mm-mm.
reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Sad, isn't it?
Yeah, our fastest internet, our newest, most like top of the line internet that they've rolled out here in this country is on copper line that has been there for like.
Why won't they just replace it?
How old's the telephone?
I don't know. How old is the telephone?
I don't know. You tell me.
Benjamin Button
You're
invented it.
you're the dude you're our dude in the chair.
Dude in the chair.
Yeah.
How old are telephones? I feel like this is a very young person. 1871.
1871. So our internet our internet that we are coming to you live from now is a fiber node or something connecting to a telephone wire that was installed here not long after Australian settlement.
Probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Except for a few people that got Labour internet. And even that was iffy.
That might not be correct. You know. Oh, telecommunications in Australia.
Like here, you have to pay extra to almost so some of the companies are starting to do this thing where they like have different tiers, different speed tiers. So it's like
1901.
If you're a gamer, you want this speed, and if you're a whatever, you want this speed. And what they're doing is they are segregating and separating internet speeds because of their capacity issues, because of their bandwidth issues, and then turning them into a product.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, because we have limited bandwidth, we're going to break these up into different product streams, and we're going to charge a premium price to people that want the standard. That's not even the global standard.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to make that a premium product.
That's cheeky.
Yeah.
This ashtray here is an old bake-like ashtray showing an example of a single-digit phone number, which is 3. That's what you ring. 3.
That's the number.
That's the number. That's the phone number for that company.
I wonder who's number 3.
I wonder what happens if you,
What happens if you call 3 now?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Call 3.
I'm going to call them. Imagine it connects me to 3.
Actually, I can run it through here.
You call 3.
Quiet little Telemac phone.
Uh-oh, my data's been used up.
Uh-oh.
When does that change over?
What have you done? I don't know. Probably already has.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. I'm calling the number 3. Ready? We're dialing 3.
The bit says you can't be connected. This is suspense killing
Not a number.
us. It's not a number. Sorry, guys.
Whoever, they must have moved.
I need to go. Yeah, Alexander Graham Bell. I did an assignment on him once.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Boring it was.
Why?
Because I wasn't interested in electricity. But I remember learning a lot about it.
Mm.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
Do you remember what you learned?
I was learning about him and the light bulb, and there was some sort of like controversy between him and some other guy who were arguing over who actually invented electricity and light globes, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold me to that. Could be wrong.
Anything to do with Nikola Tesla?
You know, I don't really remember his name coming up, but surely it did. Right?
People have been telling me that Thomas Edison stole from Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. Is that what that movie's about?
There's a movie?
The one with Nikola Tesla and he's the magician.
He's not the magician.
Who's the magician?
That's the Prestige. The Prestige.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla wasn't the magician. Nikola Tesla was Nikola Tesla, and the magicians went and met him.
Oh, on the hill in that dark, gloomy spot.
Yeah.
I remember that part.
With light bulbs plugged into nothing, and he'd just pick them up out of the ground. He'd put it in the ground, and they'd. I don't know.
Did you hear my inside burp?
Nope.
It was good.
Flies.
Yeah, they're a bit out of control, aren't they?
Mm.
You're getting a bit ridiculous. It's because that door's open.
Yeah.
You just bloody shut it. Anyway, that's all we had on our agenda today.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
Mm.
Go out out and buy a lotto ticket today.
Yeah.
If you're not doing nothing, go and buy yourself a lotto ticket.
Particularly if you've been to jail. If you've gotten out of jail and you've built a fortress, buy a lotto ticket because apparently that's like being hit by lightning 3 times.
Is it?
Yeah. If you get hit by lightning 3 times, you probably win the lottery.
Julia Gillard.
Yeah. So get your golf clubs out.
Go do that.
Out you go. Don't really do it.
No,
Yeah.
don't encourage that kind of
Don't let
thing.
your kids do it either. They'll end up in the ranch.
Yeah. We'll
With,
call Dr. Phil on you.
with Dr. Phil of shit.
Phil of shit.
Yeah. He's not really full of shit.
Oh.
He seems really lovely. He seems like, well, also it seems like that he makes a real point of saying that like he's never spoken to any of them until they get out there on the stage, etc., etc. He's got a huge production team and whatever. So he's probably just dealing with like what is there at the time.
Oh my God.
Maybe he's not the problem.
There's a Dr. Phil guest drug abuse scandal.
Guest drug abuse.
Yeah, I just Googled Dr. Phil controversy.
Yeah.
Rehab, a bunch of unethical conduct and controversies involving guests and trouble celebrities. His name's Philip McGraw. I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
He's
a Tennessee boy, isn't he?
Is that right?
I think so.
He's 67 now. He earned 79 million in 2017.
Well done, Phil.
Bloody heck. Imagine what his house is like.
Ah.
His work has touched more Americans than any other living psychologist. Of course it has. You're on TV.
Mm.
The other psychologists are not.
Mm-hmm.
Latest scandal was they're saying that staff of McGraw's enabled members in hopes of boosting ratings.
Enabled them.
Yeah.
To do drugs.
Like they would have manipulated them into like being around triggers or whatever. That's what I reckon.
Mm-hmm. They did that on Big Brother Australia when they had the first intruder come in, and they didn't tell anybody that she quit smoking the day before because she was always chewing gum, and they were like, "Why is she chewing gum all the time? And why is she such a bitch?" And then after they voted her out, after she got voted out, she was then allowed to reveal.
So yeah. Well,
and so they do stuff like make them hungry on purpose.
Yeah, because it's good TV when they get
like you guys broke this rule that we made as a rule yesterday, and now you're on a food strike.
So there was a guy called Todd who won Survivor, and he had issues with substance abuse. And when he arrived at the Dr. Phil LA studio in 2013, there was a bottle of vodka in his dressing room and a Xanax. Giving a Xanax to calm his nerves by other stuff, knowing full well that
isn't Xanax the most, or is that
addictive?
Xanax, or is it Xanax is like the most addictive?
He had to be carried on set.
Jeez.
And registered with a blood alcohol content of 0.263.
Mm-hmm.
More than 3 times illegal.
Well, he also had the man with the golden voice on a handful of times. Remember?
Who's the golden voice?
He was the homeless man with the 19 golden voice. Yeah, and he had a bunch of drug relapses and stuff. And then they had his family come on again, and then they were like, "Oh, he's relapsed again. Let's get him back in." They've got informants out there just like leaving bottles of Jack Daniels in his room or something, and they're like, we've got our eye on you. We need you back.
Oh no! And his first wife, Dr. Phil's first wife, was domineering and unfaithful.
Oh,
holy moly!
He ain't got no time for that.
He annulled that in 1973.
Oh, okay.
Because she was unfaithful.
That's a long time ago.
He wouldn't allow her to.
Does he still leave at the end of every episode hand in hand with his wife?
Yeah, he does.
He still does that.
Yeah.
Yep. Solidarity.
She claimed that Dr. Phil, his first wife, claimed that he demanded she confine herself to the domestic duties, but also lift weights to bulk up her bust line.
Ooh. Is there a context you can spin on that makes that not so bad?
Maybe he really likes big boobs.
Maybe she had sore back a lot. He was sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, do some weights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? That because I could say, well, Shaun said to me once that my tits are too big.
And that's your deal.
And that's my deal.
Mm-hmm.
Could be totally taken out of context if we ever broke up.
If you just take what people say, if you take a video clip of anyone, If you get a Monty Python clip and you just
can make
write it
sound
out,
bad. Yeah.
it's horrific.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of context, sounds horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
Half the things I say are pretty horrendous when no one's listening.
A lot of comedians, though, like the really dark ones, even if you take it out of context of their set, they're still saying a horrible thing.
Yeah.
But it's...
Do you think if you say things, you mean them?
No.
You think if you think things, you mean them?
No.
So what do you ever mean?
You mean what happens.
What if you mean... Yeah. No, that seems fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your actions are more your meaning than your words
You mean
or
what
your
happens,
thoughts.
yeah. But you don't always...
Or how about if you are your thoughts?
What do you mean?
Well, once you said to me, you are your thoughts.
I think I probably was referring to some sort of like hermeneutic loop.
Yeah.
Like a feedback loop of thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you're not all your thoughts. You are your reoccurring thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it just kind of like reaffirms
what happens
itself.
So if I was to think I was a piece of shit
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that all the time and it was recurring,
Then
does
you'll
that
go
mean
and
I
do
am
piece of shit things.
Do you reckon? Because I always thought I was a piece of shit, but I never really did bad things.
People always do what they want.
Mm.
And if you think you're a piece of shit, then you'll convince yourself that you want to do more piece of shit things because it makes sense.
Do you think there's two kinds of people? There's like people who feel shit things about them, people who think shit things, like I'm a piece of shit, I'm a piece of shit, right? And they only internalize that and put that onto themselves. I think that's what sort of person I am. Then do you think there's people who think shit thoughts, potentially the same shit thoughts, I'm a piece of shit, I'm a piece of shit, and then go and actually expel that into the world rather? Do you think that's two different types of people, and are there other types of people around that?
They are.
Are there people who do both?
Everybody is individual, but these things tend to, and so their actions won't always be the same, but the snowball effect usually develops in the same way. Everything grows mold.
So if I was to continue on, I'm a shit person till I was like, say 60, I'd probably end up being a bit of a dick.
Well, some people cross over this threshold where they become so convinced that they are whatever they are, so convinced that they are powerless to change whatever they think that they are, that they then decide that that is some sort of insult from life. Like life has insulted me so much by making me these things that I think I am. And I've believed it so much now that I've gone to the point where I don't even consider whether that could be a different thing. You know, I am the worst of whatever things I think I am. Maybe I've already done some horrible things. And then some people, and this is a very small amount of people, cross over into wanting to get revenge for that. They want to get revenge on the world for making them what they are.
I guess that comes in varying levels of severity.
Well, that's how people end up emptying like clips into crowds of people because
apparently no reason.
It's revenge on life, revenge on the cruel thing, the cruel joke that they believe that they are the punchline of.
Can you imagine being that angry? Like think back to the time where you absolutely hated yourself. You just hated yourself so much.
But if you're brainwashed into doing something, regardless of whether you were brainwashed or not, you did what you wanted. Even if what you wanted wasn't your idea, it's still the same thing. It doesn't necessarily, it changes the level of responsibility. And some people can be gaslit and manipulated into all kinds of things. And there are examples of people being brought to justice for that as well. Like people often get in trouble for the way that they manipulate other people as well. That's a thing too.
What's that thing where when the captive becomes attached to the captor?
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. There's a different
good example.
Just because, like, it's always true that people do what they want. It doesn't mean it's always their fault that they wanted to do it. That's not the same thing. There is a difference.
Well, then would that be more people will do what they need? Nah.
People do what they
people
think
don't
they
always
need.
Yeah. Oh, it's complex.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's all just a bit confusing, really.
Yeah.
It just hurts my brain. It's like we're looking out at the
Doesn't
moon.
hurt mine, because when I see it that way, it makes it so much easier to deal with people, because it makes it so it doesn't make the world any safer to be in, but it takes off the edge of being around people that you don't like, because you can kind of understand it a little bit. And then you just like, it just makes it hurt less. It makes the things that other people do hurt less, because it's just not about you. It's not about
never
you.
about you.
Even the things they do to you, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you deal with some of this stuff and it's horrible, but it's not about us. And knowing that, like, doesn't make things that happened unhappen. But I don't know. It's just not as sharp.
It's not as sharp.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as pointy. Yeah. Interesting. Seth Jane Roberts state, in nature of personal reality, you create your own reality. There is no other rule. What about a relation? There was a teenage girl here in the States who went to prison for manipulating. I read that guy, the young woman who kept telling her boyfriend to kill himself, and she ended up getting. And he did? Yeah, he did, and she ended up going to prison. She's like, I think she's only like 17, and yeah, she ended up in jail because she would be like, I'm going to do it, and she'd be like, go on then, go on. I didn't read it all, but yeah, it was pretty full on. What about the relationship where you have a dominant partner and they slowly drip, 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 and slowly make you believe things?
Get out. Go.
But
that's not very easy, though. See, I work with a lot of the
minute.
clients that I work with are in domestic abuse situations, and they're young, and sometimes they have children with the person that they're being abused by, and there's all kinds of reasons to talk yourself into staying in an unsafe situation, because it really does feel like another angle of people always do what they want or always do what they think they need is you can convince yourself in all kinds of ways that staying with the unsafety that you know is better than trying to survive. You know, like you can. So some of the people that I work with, not only were they like physically beaten by the people they were with, they were like mentally beaten down and manipulated and reduced to, you know, something like, you know, less than, yeah, you know, they were put in their place per se. And it's horrible. And not only that, you mentioned Stockholm syndrome before, it makes you dependent on your punisher, because they've punished you mentally and physically so much that, and part of that punishment, the authority that comes with that punishment, it really makes
it's a bit of a trap, and it isn't as easy as saying just get out of it, because I find that a lot of the time, even when they get to the bottom, even when they have been beaten too bad enough to be put in hospital, they still go back. And I understand that to a degree, because of the guy that I was with before you would treat me in such horrible ways, and I went back every time. And would
you agree that the reason that you kept going back is because you had been able to, for whatever reason, be convinced that going back is better than facing whatever you would have to face alone?
No, it was some weird hold that he had. Like you said, the authority thing.
But did you believe going back was going to be better than not going back when you would decide to go back?
I don't really know. I don't know. I can't really say that I could remember.
What did you have going on? Did you have anything going on in your life at the time that was going, you know, like...
My life was a lot more simple when he wasn't around. And I knew that he was bad for me. Yeah.
Was he a procrastination from going forward?
Perhaps.
He was a pattern.
He was a pattern that I kept around.
Did he start the pattern?
Nah.
It started long
We
before him.
contributed it to it together.
No, but did the pattern that you were on with him start before him?
I had no self-worth, so therefore I thought my worth was tied up in the relationships that I had with men.
Yep. So your core belief there was that it's better to be with anyone than no one.
I guess so.
Yeah. So you made a decision, even though it wasn't working out for you, you made a decision based off what you thought was going to be better. You thought it would be better than being alone.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But in the relationships that I have been in, I've been able to eventually leave the ones that don't suit me well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that is, because I could, and I guess. Yeah, it's all very individual basis by basis.
Well, it's kind of like if you, ice cream's bad for you.
Yeah.
You eat it one time.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that was great.
Keep eating it.
I don't even regret it. You keep eating it.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's just becomes horrible.
Yeah, and you're like
and
sick of it.
You're over it.
But it's a habit.
But it's a habit, and it's over, and it sucks to get off of it. But eventually, because we've said before that like no one really gets to pick the moment where it's going to be enough. No one gets to pick that.
No, you don't.
It's either a moment you discover because it's way too late, or it's a moment that you discover because it's just become way too uncomfortable to keep doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And so then that means you are looking at a decision that's better than the one that you're making. You won't change. You won't change what you're doing until you find something better.
Yeah.
And better doesn't always mean a better version of the same thing. So it doesn't necessarily mean like you will not leave your abusive partner until you find a better partner to replace them with. It just means you're going to have to find some better thing to do with your time that's about you, that's about some purpose. Because and that's really hard because we're talking about people that have tortured people into having no self-esteem or no belief in themselves. So it's very, very hard to feel like you can do something better.
Why they get stuck.
That's why they get stuck.
Because their self-worth is gone.
And so sometimes to some of my clients, the thing that's better is that moment when they see their kid do something or they see their kid behave in some certain way and they're like, that is a direct result of the life that we're living. And that is the moment that it's like
that you want to make change.
Making sure that they are not around this anymore is worthy of getting out of this. That is something better. And also that's not enough either. For a lot of people, unfortunately, that can be the thing that guilts them into staying even longer.
Yeah, because for the kids, that's the worst thing you can do for your children.
Well, because you can convince yourself that like, okay, look, he only hurts me, he doesn't hurt them, and I can still afford to feed them and send them to school and do all this and stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to do that on my own. If I do it on my own, my kids are going to have to give up so much because of the mistake that I made with being with this person. And so then you can convince yourself again that staying in the bad relationship is better because it's better for them. It sucks for me, but this is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing of being a mother is that a lot of mothers put themselves forwards. He just pushed my foot off of him.
This is pushing me. You're like rocking off of my body.
Yeah, because I've got nothing to rock
I
off.
ain't no wall.
I'll get my rocks off, I will. All right? You don't tell me where I can get my rocks off.
My skin feels irritable.
It's because you're all sweaty.
It's because I had all that ice cream last night. You just can't touch me today.
Oh.
Too much ice
It's
cream.
all right.
Can't do
Not much into it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember all those times we've said, how many times do you reckon in the 10 years that we've been together that we've uttered the words to each other? I know we said we were going to have sex tonight, but we've had too much food.
In 10 years? It's got to be said at least a couple times a year.
Just a couple?
I'm going to say
it's
like
probably
10.
been said the least in the last few years
6.
than ever.
I'm going to go 6.
6 a year?
6 a year.
Up until maybe a year ago?
Yeah.
And then maybe
one
time last year and one time this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's come down.
None times this year.
None times.
Yeah. We've transitioned from being too full
to being too tired.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Which is kind of the same thing because we're tired by our fullness.
It's cut out for some people. Yeah, mine cut out on my computer too. What did Kyle say?
Were you on the hotspot?
Yeah. Used all my data.
Whoops.
Read them. I can't read them.
My mum did that, stayed with my dad because of my brothers and I, even though we were trying to help her get out. She stayed until we were 19. Yeah, it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking.
And there is a lot of children that watch that and they grow up in these relationships, watching the parents have these relationships that they can like, and then they grow up and have the same relationships, you know, like they have the same struggles with their partners. They don't know how to negotiate with their partners and stuff. Not everyone. I think there's very few people that can come out of that.
But also, it's like not a lot of people. Maybe it's starting to hopefully become more known now. But not a lot of people were in the mindset that my kids don't grow up. My kids don't grow up receiving all the benefit of the things that I give them. They copy all of the things that they see me doing.
Yeah, that's right. It's by example.
So they're like, you know, like this sucks. So people would make the decision of this sucks for me, but it's okay for them because I can still keep providing the things that they don't have to change their life. I don't want to destroy their life. Mm-hmm. But people didn't really know back then that like they're not really going to be all that grateful for all of that stuff. All they're really going to remember
wasn't worth it.
All they're going to really remember and integrate are the things that they saw you doing. There are going to be reoccurrences of that in their relationship. So, it's going to be there.
A good parenting tip: be the adult you want your child to be.
Ooh, you got to be very careful there.
Oh,
though.
Fuck off.
No, you do. Because
try to be the person. Nah. Why not?
You need to
just be a good person.
Get your own house in order first.
That's
before
what I
you
say,
start
though.
modeling, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. If you're getting yourself in order, then your kids will try to follow suit.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with saying statements to yourself like, I want my kids to be the type of adult that they see me be, sort of thing. Because if you have any misconceptions or any like self-deprecating beliefs intertwined in what an adult should be.
Oh, well, you got to get your shit together, of course. Like, obviously, I'm not saying if you're smoking and drinking every night, then you're good. Your kids probably want to do that. Like, that's not what I just wasn't, yeah. I'll just be more specific next time.
No, I mean, like, you want to know what you need to know what I mean is that you don't want to force yourself to assume some role all of a sudden.
No, that's not what I mean.
No, I'm not saying that's what you mean.
Yeah.
But
just stop it.
I'm expanding.
Yeah.
Because people don't know what we mean.
Don't they?
Not really. Not unless you tell them. Well, because people just hear totally different
Model
stuff.
the behavior you want to see in the world? With these exceptions. Don't be a jerk. Make sure you eat good food. Don't put too many expectations on yourself and your kids.
But sometimes you will be a jerk.
Yeah. But that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the light and dark. Then you have to also, as well as that, take on that there cannot be light without dark. So when you're writing up your mottos for the week, do the behaviors that you'd like to see in the world. Next to that one, put there is always light with darkness, and you are good.
Mm-hmm.
Just whack them all up. We'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple model for life. It's not really.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah. I think the big one is probably like you don't want to show people. It's the same with the reality gap. You don't want to be trying to encourage people with the end result. You want to encourage people by being open and forthcoming about the process that you're going through to become this thing. Like, set a goal and then break it down. The same way with the reality gap thing, like, so if you're like, I want to be this kind of person in my child's life, well, what is the first little tiny, if you're here and that goal is there, what is the first little thing there? And be an advocate of that to your kids.
Yeah.
I
like it. Advocate.
And expect to screw it up all the time.
I do.
Because that's the other cool thing about patterns. So if we are just the patterns that we are, the cool thing about that is that you don't actually have to be all that successful in your attempts at setting the pattern. As long as you keep attempting to do it, it's going to stick.
That's proven.
Yeah.
Scientifics.
Yeah.
Mate. Yeah.
Do you need to go?
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
Okay.
I'm really tired. It's 12:30. That leaves me with only 2.5 hours to do all the things I need. So my brain's going, you're hungry as well, Nix. You need a lunchbox.
Yeah.
You need to do food shopping. We've only got 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So do that work.
So you can do ad things now, or are you going to procrastinate and do something else?
Oh, we have to get food. We have no choice in that. Like, even Tosh was impressed with what the fridge looked like.
Yeah, but our fridge, like even when we shop now, our fridge is still sort of staying empty because we don't really like everything. We just eat everything. We're not really
we eat it and then
we're way less of a Tupperware house than we used to be. Tupperware in the fridge.
That's because it went missing, not by choice.
Because it holds Lego most of the time.
Before we go?
Also in the past, the man owned the bank accounts, went out to work. The woman was just home, and even if she wanted to get out of that relationship, she didn't think she could. Yeah, because no one was saying you could. I guess.
I think I'm not going to have this discussion about that the male and female roles back in the days yet, because I feel like I need to articulate myself better in ways to not to come off as a wanker. But women had plenty of power they just didn't know they had. And I think that sometimes it can be an excuse for a lot of people to be like, well, I didn't know I could. And it's like, how come? Why? What? Like, and I know that it's conditioned that women are lower in the hierarchy of life, you know, over time. But who set that in place? Who like the women naturally have the babies. Anyway, I've got a lot of opinions and ideas about that, and not all of them will be popular.
There are lots and lots of like way back through history and stuff, though. There are lots of examples of women having having influence within power communities.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like examples of women being the mastermind behind the powerful man.
Yeah.
And I think I've also heard of examples of like power that women have always had that has gone unnoticed as well.
Yeah.
Like particularly in the marketplace, like apparently, and I don't take my word for this, but I think it's pretty accurate. But apparently women decide the marketplace, like in two ways. Men spend large amounts of money on things that they think are going to attract women. Cars,
boats, houses.
Yeah. And so men that tend to have settled down with women, even if they are if they happen to be in a relationship where they are controlling the finances, they still tend to skew like this is a generalization. It's not everybody, but I'm sure lots of times there are situations like that where he's just like, you know, happy wife, happy life, give her whatever she wants. I'm sure she designed the whole house and all that stuff. I'm not saying that all women are good at that.
Because I'm not.
You're good.
Creating the house, just not some of the things.
You make the stuff look great.
I make the stuff look great.
Yeah.
But there's exceptions.
So like products, like the success of products in the marketplace has depended on women's opinion. Did
women create consumerism?
And also maybe except for like power tools and maybe like go-karts and shit, but you know, like a lot of like masculine products and stuff are skewed towards making men more desirable to women.
Yeah.
And so like that can only work if there are communities of women that find those sorts of things attractive.
It's like those women in the old newspapers from like 1902 and stuff that we were reading, or 1930s that we were reading that Gran gave us. And
some of them sounded like women today.
But a lot of the women on there in these things were like a lot of the women brag about the fact in those days that they get to stay at home and stuff. Like a lot of the women a lot of the women I know that are in those older generations quite enjoyed being a homemaker at home. I have been at home doing the stay-at-home wife mum thing for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're so busy.
And I'm so busy and I have so much going on, and I didn't find my worth anywhere but in myself to be able to go, none of this is good enough for me anymore. Now I'm going to go and make my own path because I found that in myself. And I think that women from the past and in the times where they were oppressed had that same ability that I had, but just didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
That could be incredibly generalized, but that's, I don't think there's many contrasts to life then and now. And I don't know that.
But you're not saying that that's always what happens.
No, just that's in my case. And I can only know my perspective. Yeah. Who knows, mate?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's, yeah. Anyway, shall we?
Let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Got deep.
Got real deep. All right. Well,
thanks, guys.
I'm going to leave you with a couple of minutes of some music before we head out of here. Thanks for hanging out with us yet again. I'm ShaunMeetWorld. You can find me on Instagram at ShaunMeetWorld, at Antanika Holton Writes. Yep.
You can find me there.
Check us out. This is my music on SoundCloud. And 2 lyric videos out for this one. Another lyric video on the way very soon. Thanks, Melody. And if you want to make a lyric video for my new song, Begin, which is also on my SoundCloud page, you can email me, ShaunMeetWorld@gmail.com. I'll send you a Dropbox link with the full quality song and the lyrics. And I think it always looks way better when you guys do it than when I do it. Thanks.